Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Dork Entertainment. We've got a very special video for you today, the Batman. So we've got the Batman review.
Ooh, right here.
Merchandise.
Not the popcorn and the drink. Yeah, we've got the movie. We've got the movie review.
The movie review.
The non-spoiler movie review for everyone. So, no spoilers of this one. The movie's just released. So,
yes, we will do another video with a more detailed spoiler review a little bit later on. But this is our non-spoiler review. So I've got Samit here with me. Samit, welcome back.
It's been a long time.
So the Batman, what an awesome movie. I'm going to start with our scores. We'll get the ratings out of the way first. I'm going to give this movie a very solid 8 out of 10.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good solid score.
Yeah, it was a really good movie. Like I haven't seen a good movie in a long time, and this. Well, since Spider-Man, but this was up there, 2022, one of the best movies, I've got to say. There are a few small things which, I'm probably just nitpicking, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, 8 out of 10 for me. What did you think, Smee?
I thought this was incredible. The world that Matt Reeves has created here, the way Robert Pattinson has tackled this character, this iteration of Batman, is unlike any other Batman. So for me, it's a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. Wow.
It's such a great movie in that it's one of the best, probably the best Batman movies. But in itself, it's also a pretty good murder mystery as well.
Do you realize 9 out of 10 is close to perfection?
Yes, it is close to perfection. It's definitely one of my highly rated movies. I like it a lot. I'm gonna watch it again this weekend. Definitely.
So let's talk about some of the positives.
Yeah, let's go through the positives and the negatives, and
we'll try to steer away from. This is the non-spoiler review, so we'll try to steer away from any spoilers.
Yep.
But the positives. Look, it's a very in-depth movie. So the runtime of the movie is approximately 3 hours.
Yep.
And there were times where I did feel it a bit, the 3 hours, but a lot is happening in this movie, and we'll start with the positives, the characters. So we see a version of Batman here where I think he's in his second year as Batman.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
So it's quite a young Batman in this, and. That shows through Robert Pattinson's portrayal of the character.
Yeah.
He's not as aggressive or, sort of out there as the other previous Batmans we've seen.
Well, I'll say he's aggressive on the fighting.
Oh, yeah,
but I guess what you're trying to say. I think what you're trying to say is that he's not as weathered. He's not as sort of run down as a Batman as we've seen. I guess with the
we see a bit
Ben
of rawness.
Affleck one.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a bit of rawness. He's gonna make mistakes. He's young, and in this one, we really get to sort of get that introspection of him a little bit more, into his psyche as well. And there's a scene in this movie where not only do we what I gotta say is the first scene of this movie, for me, is one of the best Batman scenes in all of Batman movie history.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit in the spoiler review as well. But
but I'll if when you guys go watch it, it's the first scene, and it just encapsulates Batman, the whole character of Batman, and what he means in that first scene. And from there, I was hooked. From there, I was absolutely hooked. And just from there, it sort of just starts this run that you're on with the character as he goes through this murder mystery.
Yeah. And the opening scene is, Batman is known for having great opening scenes. If you remember the Joker in the Dark Knight trilogy, that was a crazy opening scene. Like, it sets the tone for the rest of the movie. And in the Batman, when you watch this scene, it is awesome. Like, he just, that character that Batman is, it sort of encapsulates everything in that scene. So, the other characters that we've got also, the supporting cast were excellent. There was the Penguin. Colin Farrell.
Mate, I've got to say, when he is acting in this movie, I am just perplexed as to how Colin, because a lot of people saw the trailer and they're like, man, that's some pretty good prosthetic makeup, right?
Yeah.
As Colin Farrell, as the Penguin keeps on talking throughout this movie, I'm just flabbergasted as to how that is coming out of Colin Farrell's mouth.
Yeah.
Like it does not sound like Colin Farrell. It doesn't even look like Colin Farrell.
He gets into the character.
He's got into this character in a way where, man, he's got to get some sort of Oscar recognition for this, because this is like, it's incredible acting. He really does not like look like Colin Farrell in this movie or sound like him at all, and really just portrays the Penguin in probably an iconic way, I gotta say.
Yeah,
it's very early to say, but I reckon this is an iconic sort of role for him.
In the trailer, I gotta say, the prosthetics for me and the makeup didn't look the best. I thought they're not really going to pull this off that well, but watching him in the movie, getting to the character, and just the way he delivers the dialogue, you forget about that, and it looks so natural. Yeah, like you forget that it's prosthetics. You think, you have to think back. Hold on a second, that's Colin Farrell. Like, this is not some other actor. That's Colin Farrell with makeup on. But yeah, Penguin, awesome. He was awesome in this. And there was the other ones like, of course, Catwoman, who I thought, was a bit average. Catwoman. She was a good Catwoman, but just her role in the movie, it was sort of.
So for me, that is a negative. So I'll go into that a bit later. But it's. I mean, there's other great characters. Like, I reckon his relationship with a young Jim Gordon.
Yep.
Is really good. Like,
that was really good.
You can tell Jim Gordon really trusts Batman here, and
so he's not Commissioner Gordon at this point.
At this point he's not Commissioner Gordon, and he's a young Jim Gordon, and they've got like a really good relationship in this that I guess will be, if this is a trilogy, will be built on a bit more and more throughout it. But it's it's done pretty well, and I guess we can move on a bit more into. I guess some more positives. I thought, for me, like, we've talked about the characters, but for me, a character that sort of goes, like, that isn't talked about as much is the Gotham in this.
Yeah,
the Gotham, the city itself is a character in this.
Yeah, in this movie,
because
it feels like a character in itself. Yeah,
they've got Gotham absolutely right here. It's the griminess, the dinginess of it all, just the corruption, and that, to me, is a perfect Gotham. It's a perfect place for a Batman to be. Yeah. Because it's just feels like it's devoid of hope. Yeah. In a way, right?
Leading on from that, another positive for me was the visuals of this movie. This is probably, in my opinion, the best looking Batman I have ever seen on film. Like, it's that good. Like, it fits the style of the movie perfectly, and the shots are amazing. Like, you just get sucked into that world of Gotham City. Like, it's the visuals of the city, the characters, it's just perfect. And I think that was one of the main things.
The cinematography is insane. The color palette that's used, the reds and the yellows, and it's just, it's all the marketing that we see is all like, the reds as you see here. But that's actually, like, the reds are throughout that movie. And it's just really good to see. But for me, I gotta say, what really lifted this movie has got to be that score from Michael Giacchino.
Yes, I was gonna say that's the next thing. Mate. The score is absolutely brilliant. It really sucks you in, and you sort of you feel it, like when you're in the cinema when you're watching this.
Some of Michael Giacchino's best work since Lost, I gotta say.
That's a big call.
Yeah, I mean, he's done a lot of movies and he's made some okay scores, but this is just. It really elevates the movie onto another level, and it's a murder mystery, and like there's a lot of there's with the Gotham, it's like there's a lot of angst in it, and then there's also a lot of hope as well. So it's like it mixes so well between all the different sort of emotions of the movie.
Yeah, and there's another small positive before we get to the negatives. There's also a surprise appearance there for someone. I won't talk much about it, but there's a little special cameo from a special character.
Yes. Ooh, mate.
So, the negatives. And fortunately, there are not that many.
Yeah, I mean, look, I gave it a 9 out of 10, and it's not a perfect movie. For me, the runtime isn't that big of a deal to me. Like, a lot of people are making a big fuss over the runtime.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal.
It's not something like, to me, the runtime doesn't matter if a movie's paced well.
Yeah.
And for me, this is paced pretty well. It's got a good sort of pace that goes on to the next and onto the next scene. It's it's just, I guess, when you start looking back on it, things that could have been cut. And for me, look, Zoe Kravitz is a better Catwoman than Anne Hathaway, I'll say.
Definitely.
But I still feel she was inconsequential to the plot.
Yeah.
And, like, I just don't know. I think it's possibly got to do with the character of Catwoman. I mean, they've never seemed to have got that right. Like, I don't think they've... Yeah. I mean, people say Michelle Pfeiffer. Yeah, maybe, but like...
But if I look back on it, if they had removed Catwoman from this movie, I wouldn't have known... It wouldn't have made a difference.
That's when you know that, like, that the character probably wasn't done right. Yeah. And that if you take her out, does it do anything to the story? Yeah.
Just going back to the runtime for a second, I feel like this type of movie, because Batman, they show a lot of his investigative side in this. And there is action, and there is some crazy, brutal action in this. Yeah. But there's a lot more investigation side to Batman in this movie. Yeah. Now, of course, you shouldn't... I mean, it's hard to compare this to previous iterations of Batman. But when you do compare it, the other Batmans run on a very like comic book style, a certain style that they sort of have all run through with the character. Yeah. Whereas this is different, right? So I feel like for some people, this movie, if it doesn't hit straight away, like if they're expecting something like the old Batman or the previous Batman, something similar, and it doesn't hit, then the runtime will seem longer than it is, right? Yeah. But if they look at it as Batman, another iteration of Batman, and they get into it, then the 3 hours, it won't even matter because the story flows so well.
Yeah, and like if we are comparing it to, I guess, Nolan's Batman, because that was the most recent sort of one that was as popular. Sorry guys, I didn't like the Ben Affleck.
What about Batfleck, bro?
I wasn't a fan of Batfleck. I'm sorry.
Matt Damon. Batfleck is not happy with you. Yeah, that was. I mean, Dark Knight trilogy was like the big last trilogy of Batman.
So for me, like the way I see it is that, and like a lot of people want to compare it. I'm of the camp of like, look, they're two different movies. They're two different types of movies. The Nolan films are more, and you'll feel this, like, when we watched the Nolan films, we thought, oh man, this is a realistic take on Batman, right?
Yeah.
But then when you watch this movie, it is a realistic take on Batman on another level. It actually feels way more real than the Nolan films. The Nolan films are very operatic and they're epic in scale, and they've got all these gadgets and like... You know, that, like, I'm not saying that's bad. Like, I actually like the Nolan films. That's its own, that's its own trilogy of films that I reckon are pretty faithful to Batman's DNA. Yeah. This one is a very, like, realistic, grungy sort of take on Batman in that all the stuff on his suit, it looks like something that a man would make.
Yeah.
If he had money and, like, if he could make it himself, he would make that. Even the Batmobile, it looks like something that, if someone customize something themselves, it's something that, that a person would make. Yeah.
Even, I got to say, the Riddler, the main villain of this movie, the Riddler, before we forget Riddler, his portrayal, the actor's portrayal of this, forget about, like, you can't compare it to Jim Carrey's. That's, like, different. Yeah. This is, he plays like a realistic, really dark sort of psychopath sort of character, and... He's done it so well. Like, I mean, that's another positive for me.
Yeah, that's a positive. Yeah,
he plays that so well, right to the reveal. You know what I mean of what it looks like, who he is. He does that so well. We'll talk a little bit more about it in the spoiler review. Yeah,
for me, Paul Dano as Riddler is as terrifying as Joaquin was in Joker. Because there is like a terrifying realness to him. Yes. That you guys will figure out in this movie that I guess will hit a lot of people a different way. But to me, why it's terrifying is Paul Dano, the way he plays it. Yeah. It just feels like it could be anyone. Like that's what we felt out of Joker, right? Is that when we got out of the theater, we're like, mate, this could be like a real person that's going through something like this.
Yeah.
And that could do something like this.
Yeah. You feel that with Riddler.
Feel that with Riddler in this. And there's a lot of things that happen that really do sort of call to the times that we are in now that you could feel this happening. Like that's how real it gets.
Yeah.
And because when we're talking about realism, like it's on another level, and I think it connects on another level because of how real it is.
Yeah. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is our non-spoiler review of The Batman. 8 out of 10 for me, 9 out of 10 for Samit. Do check it out. It is an awesome movie. Please leave a comment below. Please like and share the video and subscribe to the channel if you can. We do appreciate all of your support. And we shall see you in the next video, which is likely to be our Batman spoiler review. So once you do watch The Batman, come and watch our spoiler review, because it will talk about a bit more detail of the movie and the characters in that. So see you guys in the next video. Peace.